Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this braided bracelet adding beads as well. And this is what it looks like. So this is the effect you get. It's just a regular 3-strand braid, but then we add in beads in the center of it along the way to give you this nice effect and nice pattern to it. And I just finished it off with a button and a loop. This is what it looks like. And for this bracelet I've used some 1mm leather cord. So just to show you, you can use different materials. In the video I'm going to show you how to use some satin cord. That's quite a bit thicker, it's 1.5mm. So it's just to show you, you can use different materials with the same technique and different sizes of things and get different results really. It's the same basic technique, but the looks are quite different. And then if you want to learn the button and loop closure, I show that as well, and an alternative way that you can finish it off. So if you want to learn how to make that, then stay tuned. And these are the things that you're going to need. You'll need a scissor, because you obviously need to cut your cord, and then the cord that you need can really be anything. In this case I'm using some 1.5mm satin cord with a bit of silver glitter running through it. But it doesn't have to be this, it can really be anything that you can think of, anything that you have. The only thing is you have to make sure that the cord will go through your beads. So the hole in your beads need to be large enough to take your cord through. And then you'll need a selection of your beads. In this case I'm just using some round crackled glass beads in purple, and they're about a 10mm these. And then I'm just going to use a button to finish off the bracelet. So get your things together and then let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is get your cord ready. Now like I mentioned, for this I'm using some 0.1mm satin cord, but you can use whatever you've got or whatever you want to use for the design. And then the length that you need is you need a length of about 150 centimeters in total, which is 1.5 meters. And what you need to do is then fold that into 3. So fold it over in 3, so you have a loop in each end and an end on each end. So basically the length of the folded piece is about 50 centimeters, like so. And then on one end you just want to tie a regular knot with all your cords, like so. So you have your loop and the end sticking out. And then you want to get your button, because as you're tying this you just need to make sure that the loop is the correct size for your button to go through, so that it's not too small, because you obviously want to be able to get the button through, but also it's not too large. And this is pretty perfect for my size. Yep. So you have that end ready now, and that's how we're going to start off. So you've made your first loop on one end, and then I'm just going to attach mine to the board that I'm using, just to keep it secure while I'm working with it. You can just use anything to attach it to. And then you're left with these 3 lengths, and obviously at the other end where you still have a loop you want to cut that up so you have 3 separate lengths now, because that's what we need to use to braid. So you just start off with a regular braid, a 3-strand regular braid, and just do a little section of that regular braiding. And I would say do about a couple of centimeters, 1 or 2 centimeters, maybe an inch if that's what you're working with. And then you want to start adding in your beads. So to do this, when you do a regular braid, you always bring the outside into the middle, and the other side, the outside into the middle. And you're basically just going to be doing the exact same thing, you're just adding a bead into it. So my next one is my left one, So I'm going to bring that over just like I would not do normally, and then that's in the middle now, and then while it's in the middle I'm going to grab the end of that cord and then add a bead to this. Like so, and then push it all the way up to where it meets the braid, because then what you need this bead to do is sit on this middle cord in between the other ones. And then what you need to do now is continue with the regular braid. So now it's this side, my right side, that you then bring over like you normally would, and make sure that it comes around the bead like so. And then the next step, we'll move back to the other side, the outside one, bring it into the middle just like a regular braid, and just try and hold it all a bit tight as you're doing it, as far as you can. You can always tighten it up as you go. And that's the first bead added and basically caged in as well, you can say. So we now reached the left one we just brought into the middle, so this means we now need to add another bead. I'm going to take another one out, put that on the middle cord that we just brought in, and push it all the way up just like before. So again, that sits in the middle, and then just continue with the normal braid. So bring the right one across into the middle, and then the left one across and into the middle like so. So that's 2 beads added. And as you can see, it's a little bit fiddly to work with because it kind of wants to keep moving, but then if you're working with some pins and that, you can always help that along. Just pin it into the board as you go and keep everything in place. So again, we just brought the outside from the left into the middle, which means we need to add another bead. So in this case, the way that I'm doing it is every time I bring it from the left side into the middle is when I add a bead. It doesn't mean you have to do it this way. You can start from the other side. So if you bring the right side into the middle and add a bead, just make sure that you're doing the same thing throughout the whole bracelet, because it's doing the same thing and keeping the consistency that's going to make it nice and even throughout. So you push that up just like you've done the other times, and now we bring the right one over into the middle, and then the left one over and into the middle like so, and that's the 3rd bead. And because we brought the left one over and into the middle, we need to add a bead to that one. So put it on that cord and push it all the way up. Make sure it sits in between the 2 outer cords like so, and bring the right one over and into the middle, and then the left one over and into the middle. And you will find as you're doing this, your beads and your cords will move around a bit, but it's just as you keep going, it's going to keep tightening it and holding it all in place, and then when you finish it off, it's going to sit where you want it to sit. So just make sure that you keep everything nice and neat throughout, and if a bead pops out like that, just put it back before you move on like so. And because we just brought this into the middle, we now need to add another bead to that, and you just continue doing that, the same thing throughout the whole bracelet. So continue doing that until you reach the length that you think you'll need, and then I'll show you how we finish it off. So I've now reached the bottom and I've reached the length that I think my bracelet needs to be. So what we're going to do now is, you can see the cords are quite loose around the beads still. So all we need to do is, in the beginning, we started off with just a little piece, a little section of a regular braid. So we're just going to do the exact same thing to finish it off. So you grab your strands and just continue doing the regular 3-strand braid. Again, just for about a couple of centimeters or so. Like that. And then what I'm going to do now is, because we've got to the point where we need to attach the button. So in order to get the cords into position and kind of lock everything in, I'm going to do, you have your 3 strands, your 3 lengths of cord, and you have one that's obvious more in the middle. So that's the one that's going to be a holding cord, because what I'm going to do is just do a square knot on this to kind of lock everything in place. So I take my left one and put over the middle one, like this. And try and like hold the braid kind of a bit nice and tight. And then on the right side, bring that over that one, underneath both, so you have like a pretzel shape, just like if you were doing a regular square knot on something else. You're just going from a braid into a square knot, and then you just tighten it, and you can always adjust it a little bit if it doesn't look quite right, but that looks pretty good to me. Tighten that nicely, and then you want to finish off that square knot with the other half of it, like so, just to proper fasten it in place nicely, like there. And you can let go, and you can see it's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to come undone. So what I'm going to do now is grab the button, and in this case I'm just using like a shank type button. So I'm going to grab the cord in the middle, the one that was just the holding cord, and put my button onto that. So you just put the one cord through, like so. And then you take the 2 that you had as working cords, making the first square knot, bring them down, and you basically just want to do another square knot below your button to just hold your button in place and cage it in. So you do a regular square knot just like you've just done. You start with the same side, doesn't matter which one you start with, but just do the same one. So make your square knot, bring one over and take the other one over and through, so you get your pretzel shape. And then you want to tighten that, making sure that the sides of your cords go below your button. So as you can see on the back, you're basically just using the shank of the button to help hold it in place. And that's going to kind of hide your cords as well. And then do the other half of your square knot, like so. And there your button is nice and secure, and it sits quite nicely. So now I'm going to take it off the board, and then here you have basically a bracelet. It's pretty much finished. All you need to do is just finish off the ends. All I'm going to do with that is get out a bit of glue. In this case I'm just using some hypo cement, because it has a really nice fine tip to it, so you can really get the glue right in where you want it to go instead of spilling it all over the place. And also it dries clear and stays flexible, so it shouldn't go hard and like irritate your skin or anything like some glues do. And it dries clear, so it'll kind of blend in, you won't notice it. So all I do is pull the loop back, because we want to keep that, and I just get the tip right in there where your cord is coming out, and just glue a bit around there. So where it's coming out from your knot, you just want to glue around that little spare piece of cord. Doesn't need to be too much, but just enough to hold it in place, like so. And on the other end, turn it over on the back side. And then as you can see, you got the first square knot on the first half, and on the other side you have a square knot where you finished off, you have your ends. So you want to go in and be able to cut these off as well. So you just get your glue and go around the ends where they're coming out from your knot, and glue around there, all the way around, to make sure nothing can come undone. And then I like to just go into the well of the knot, and then obviously around the one that was your holding cord as well. Just a decent amount, it doesn't have to be too much, just enough to hold it all in place. And when you've done that, you can put your glue away, and you obviously want to let that to dry so we can end up cutting the ends off. So now my glue's dried, yet it's still flexible because of the type of glue that we're using, and you're just going to go in with your scissor as close to where your piece of excess cord is coming out as possible, without cutting into the knot, and then just cut the ends off. There, that's one end, and then the other end we just need to cut this little piece off. So pull your loop and your piece of cord apart and just cut off that excess little piece, like so. So that's both ends finished off now, and that is your bracelet done. So you just use the loop and the button to fasten it, and then it's ready to wear. So adding the beads in this way to a regular braid gives you this really nice effect of basic caged in beads, but in a really nice pattern. Now if you don't want to finish off your bracelet in this way, where you use a button and a loop as the closure, you can always go in and use some cord ends that look like this. So that's where you basically place your cords into this end and then close it down. And that's another way, and then you just attach things like jump ring, a lobster claw clasp if that's what you would choose, an extended chain. So that's another way of finishing it off. If you would like to know how to do that, I do have a video on how to use these. I'll link that in the description box. But otherwise, this is your finished bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to do this intertwining herringbone macrame bracelet, and this is what it looks like. So this is the effect you get with this technique, and I also quite like the way it looks from the side. And then obviously you can choose different colours and different beads and different colours of beads as well.